Alright. Part 2. I don't know if I'll split every to be continued into its own stream part. I might, because, again, since I'm not going to be here most of the last week, not the last week, the last full week of the month, because of MagFest, that's going to be, like, close to 6 or 7 days I'm not streaming. So, if I split every to be continued into its own 2-hour chunk, that might make the VOD uploads last longer. We'll have to see. I might do some, like, off-stream Spelunky stuff, too. If I can't, fill in time. Can't believe Shelly the Killer was a bad guy. To be fair, he's not... He's an assassin. He's very morally gray. Like, obviously he kills people, so that's he's got that going for him. But he's extremely honorable, and, typically won't kill people. He typically won't try to involve others in a killing. Or even injuring. He does not like to involve others that aren't specifically targeted. But yeah, he's an assassin, so it's like, whatever. The whole last case of the second game involves him killing someone and then essentially finding out who his client was. He's essentially just the murder tool. He's affably evil, yeah. To be honest, he's probably more of an antagonist in this game than he is in Justice for All. But again, he's helping us right now, so we're not going to go into that. Panicked Cat. Was the death of Basham Rook and the revelation that Shelly the Killer was in our midst. The case had taken a turn we could have never predicted. Mr. Knight ordered that the door to the presidential plane be opened, and the emergency personnel attending to Mr. Rook's body were asked to leave. With the scene cleared, we stepped cautiously aboard. March 25th, 4:15 p.m. Well, it's been like a whole hour. Zhengfa presidential plane. Oh, it's March 25th. That's weird. I thought it was the 24th and 23rd. Sorry. No president in sight. Now where could he be? Who knows? Ah, so he's hiding behind the bulkhead door over there, isn't he? As courageous in the face of danger as ever. Ha, sorry to disappoint, but do you seriously expect him to be standing here waiting to meet his assassin? As we've already established, my intent lies only in the successful conclusion of this investigation. Now, Mr. Edgeworth, if you'd be so kind as to examine the body. Alright. My only option right now is to play along. The rest is up to you, Detective Gumshoe. You finally came back and you see this. The attempted assassination of the president has become the murder of a bodyguard. You look like you use a little help there, Mr. Edgeworth. Not that I need it, but yes. That's what I thought. And there's nothing else for it. Hey, Faraday, great thief extraordinaire. We'll take it. Just have to take it from here. Oh, really? You mean you're going to solve this case for me? Nope. Thought not. But I will provide vital assistance. Let's get scouring this crime scene from top to bottom. She's still got her toy. It'll take Detective Gumshoe a while to assemble our backup, so I'll need to draw this part of the investigation out as long as possible. Zhengfa presidential plane. Finally come back and see that motherfucker. Oh, Shelly? Yeah. 2 gas masks, in case of a poison gas attack, I suppose. The president certainly seems to think he's at risk of all assassination at all times. Wow, gas masks. Never seen one before. Heard plenty about them, of course. Oh, from a fellow thief, I presume. No, from the Jammin' Ninja. You know, my favorite kids' TV show. Princess Murasaki was getting married, but toxic ninja Wolfsbane showed up to lay down some sick burns. And time to tune out. Might save myself a brain cellar, too. Someone's left an inflatable boat and an oar here. Probably so it's ready to go at any time. Wait, but there's only one oar. You could still row with one oar, you know. High usage reaction image. Hey, Robot Bunny. Yeah. Also, There's a wide selection of protective equipment here. Bulletproof vests, hazmat gear. No way, there's even a spacesuit! I get the sense that the president thinks he's very much in need of protection at all costs. What if he was in a gunfight and there was poison gas everywhere? And he was in space? What would he do then, huh? Then he'd simply put on the bulletproof vest, the hazmat gear, and the spacesuit. That's probably easier said than done. President's on the other side of this door. And what a door it is. Bet I could bet to get the better of it, though. Get the better of it. Doors aren't there to be beaten. Look how heavy it is. Look at that lock. Just sitting there, begging me to try it. Calm down, Kay, and think. Why might this door be locked? For me to open it, of course. Precisely. For you to open it, of course. Wait. What is the right answer, anyway? Like how Edgeworth just went so far off the rails there, he didn't remember what he was saying. Gotta love price increases. I mean, totally get it because production costs went up, but art supplies weren't cheap in the first place. Oh, God. When I was in color theory, and I had to go to Pearl art supplies, I spent so much fucking money in there back in college. And yet, I'm still not an artist. I wonder if they'll ever port those new ports to mobile, if they'll just continue to think the current ports are good enough. However, i2 Mobile is still Japan only. They're probably never doing that. Probably never doing that. I think people are starting to realize that phone games are starting to kind of wear off in terms of ports. That people just don't really want them. That's why now you're just seeing, like, Apple Arcade exclusive games. Like Sonic Dream Team, which I wish that would come to consoles. That game looks fun. It's a bank of monitors displaying camera feeds from in and around the plane. Ports of 4, 5, and 6 are good to stay, but the investigation ports aren't that great. Must scour the scene and inspect anything that catches my attention. This monitor is displaying a feed of this very room. I like how it's got them in it. In, like, the exact same poses. They didn't go cheap when they bought these, huh? Very high res. Yeah, are you sure about that? That's high res, alright. Oh, I'm afraid I can't quite tell myself, but... Hey, you see a little crow's feet around your eyes. Oh, my bad. They're just usually deeply etched lines. You know, on your forehead. If you've quite finished. These monitors displaying the cockpit and parts of the plane's exterior. But I don't see anything out of the ordinary. That's the outside of the plane. Most intruders cannot hope to approach without being spotted. But such measures would be mere child's play in my case. Whoa, you're saying you get past the cameras like these without being seen? Of course, with ease. You have to teach me how, please. Are you taking on apprentices by any chance? Okay, you do realize who you're talking to, don't you? Sorry. I had to ask, though. What a great skill for a great thief to know. Unfortunately for you, I'm not the type to take on understudies. You're not, huh? Shame. Shame? In what way exactly? What on earth is this? Oh, it's the president's favorite plushie. It's a memento of something. Anyway, don't touch. But if that's the case, then why has it been left up there like nobody cares about it? Yeah, it is pretty weird. Certainly wouldn't be the first place I would think to display a beloved item. Wait, are those shards of glass beneath it? Thought something seemed strange about this cubbyhole, but now I'm sure of it. There was almost certainly another monitor here. Screen showing footage from in and around the aircraft. One monitor is missing. Scour the scene and blah blah blah. Same with Ghost Trick. They didn't replace the old Trilogy port with the new one. Documents of some kind. Could always steal a glance. Another security plan. Oh yeah, like the one from the trash can. March 19th, so this is earlier. Also covered in case amphibious assault. President's safety is paramount. Wow, they had a lot more guards here. Spectator area should be covered at all times. They had 8 guards here originally, along with Knight and Rook. And Knight was originally on the left rather than the right. Precisely. But wait, something feels off. Eureka! The two plans are different. Was the security detail reorganized at some point? Huh? Oh, you're right! Yeah, there's no other guards here. Yeah, we made some last-minute changes yesterday. President's orders. Why the urgency? Because of what happened the day before. The killer here tried to take him down. March 19th. March 19th was the last day of the previous game. He infiltrated the security detail, posed as one of us. Rook figured it out first, but not before the guy got within striking distance of the president. If our leader hadn't stepped in just then, we all would have been out of a job. Dude's killing the dead with... Dude's choking him out with his bare hand. Look, you can see his vein. That is quite a chokehold. Also, does this happen in Zhang Fa? So was Shelly the killer just in Zhang Fa? But he made it, and our friend here wound up with a seriously twisted arm. Rook put a bullet in it for good measure, too. And where were you while this was happening? You were the first I overpowered, were you not? Oh, that's embarrassing. Shut up, kid. Ah, now I get it. Busted up my neck so bad I can't even look to my right. I was somehow somewhat astonished to have sustained an injury. At all. A testament to Mr. Rook's skill. He was truly a master of his craft. Unlike a certain other someone I could mention. I'm just as good as he ever was. You were a pawn to his queen, my young friend. The heck do you know? So that's why you remembered Mr. Rook's name. You admired his skills as a bodyguard. Indeed, while I was serving on the team, I learned the names of all the operatives. But his in particular stayed with me. It joined the very short list of those who have ever successfully wounded me. Sorry, I have, someone was sending Discord messages. So that's the connection he was talking about. And that's why we changed up the security plan. Had to be sure there weren't any more assassins in the ranks. The President didn't want anybody on stage he didn't trust, and he only trusts 2 people. Me and Rook. Oh, so that's why they're all gone. Security plan data updated in my organizer. Hey, Neat Dreams, how you doing? One mobile port that still needs replacing is the absolutely abysmal port of the original Mega Man X they still maintain for some reason. So I guess people still get the microtransactions they added. Who would be paying for that? That port is garbage. I've seen it. It's not good. How does that explain your change of position? Oh yeah, he switched over to the right-hand side. I told you, can't turn my neck to the right. I can only cover the president's left side. So I wound up moving to the right side of the stage. Very mad, but doing your best? Aw. I'm sorry to hear that. I hope you do better. Hope your new year goes better for you. Curious figure of a curious animal with a curious expression is staring straight at me. And look, there's a big lever right by its butt. Don't even think about it. Oh, I wasn't thinking anything, I swear. I imagine that lever opens the panels beneath my feet. Ah, I see. So we're standing on a trap door. Strongly advise you not to pull it. Do so, and you will regret it. You know, I'm okay with taking some advice, especially when it's from a professional killer. But, yeah. That looks heavy. This is where what a president wears, huh? Must be made of something super special. Yes, to protect him from bullets. What, so it's not just for show? Of course not, this is a bulletproof vest. Is it the president's? Oh, so that's what one of these look like. Why didn't you just say so? Now I feel silly. These personal safety alarms are very colorful. Looks like they get a lot of use as well. Like the president, he seems to be a thoughtful guy. Buying these for his kids, maybe his wife too. Why would they all be here if that was the case? No, these are for his own personal use. Objection, Your Honor. It's simply not possible for one person to use this many personal alarms. Why, you ask? Because he's human and therefore possesses only 2 hands. 20 hands wouldn't be enough to count the number of objections I could have to that objection. Haha. Can't examine the air mask. Oxygen mask, excuse me. It's a solid circular life preserver designed to be used in case of an emergency on the water. Or rather, the sea, to be more precise. Oh, the sea. I love the sea. We should go sometime. Sorry, but you'll have to make that particular trip without me. Oh, don't be like that. Come on, it'll be fun. You can have lobster rolls, ice cream, all that good stuff. Something tells me the sea isn't the main attraction for you, is it? It's a peach ring. I got peach rings when I was in Denver. When I was at Denver. There's a bird over here. I didn't even notice that because of my PNG tuber. Why do those look like vibrators? You know, that's a good question. A riot shield, and next to it a canary in a cage. Aw, she's so sweet. I want one. Did you ever see a cuter partner in crime? Partner in crime? Well, yeah, she could help with lockpicking, stuff like that. A great thief has no greater ally than nature, Mr. Edgeworth. Sadly, such birds are most commonly used for detecting poisonous gases. Wait, this one isn't actually for that, is it? I like how he just looks at her. Perfect spot for a burb. I mean, yeah. I have high hopes for your investigation. I do hope you won't betray my trust in you. Things are progressing well, I hope. There's no need to worry, things are progressing just fine. Remember, I absolutely despise betrayals of all kinds. Yes, I know. Indeed you do. So please do take care not to double-cross me, accidentally or otherwise. I have no choice but to do as he says for now. Can't believe I let an assassin onto the President's plane. You know very well it was for the good of the investigation, Mr. Knight. Don't give me that. I know what you really want. You do indeed, because you heard me say it already. Wish to know the truth behind Mr. Rook's death. But you also did say you were asked to assassinate the President by a certain someone. You seem to have forgotten that there are more pressing matters at hand. I don't often carry out unpaid work, but it's not entirely unheard of. Fine. I'll just get back to the investigation. Good. I'm expecting great things from you, Mr. Edgeworth. I must admit I've never seen one of these up close. It's akin to a license, correct? I, too? No way, you have a license to kill? No, but if I must spell it out for you... Nope, all good, thanks. You can keep that little nugget of truth locked up nice and tight in your heart, okay? So even a great thief's bravado quickly crumbles under the face of an assassin. This single piece of evidence was all it took for you to track me down. You really are as good as they say. I still don't get why you hid it under the samurai dog stand. As I said, I do not wish to be mistaken for the shooter. A shooter you identified by means of a different jacket entirely. Or do you doubt your own logical conclusions? I have to admit, there are no lies to be detected in his words. Well, I think that's the key to cracking this case. May not seem it, Mr. Knight, but Mr. Edgeworth has his methods. His reasons for presenting such an item are myriad, I'm sure. Yes, precisely. Won't get away with that too many times. I've seen how our safety alarms and Japanese safety alarms look like. It's interesting, really. Such a frightfully blunt instrument. No knowledge or skill required. Use of such a tool speaks to a fundamental lack of reverence for the craft, wouldn't you say? You're telling me there's a level of reverence involved when choosing a murder weapon? Indeed I am, Mr. Edgeworth. You wouldn't agree? A weapon is a weapon. I totally agree, and so does he. Now say sorry, Mr. Edgeworth. What is there even to apologize for? Yeah, that's right. The killer never uses. The killer doesn't use guns. He didn't use guns during the previous case. He choked the guy with a piano wire. Choking and neck stuff seem to be his thing. Actually, they changed his profile now? Yep. Shelley the Killer, a professional assassin who attempted to kill the president 2 days ago. Rook managed to intercept him, then injure his left arm. Suspicion of murder. This is a good sad theme. You hear this song a lot during this game. I didn't do it. I'm a reporter. I bag scoops, not souls. But then why lie about your jacket and the laser sight? That was... I knew you all think it was fishy. Is that really all it was? Please, you gotta believe me, I could never do something like this. I have to tell you everything will be alright, but just try not to worry too much. If you really are innocent, I'll prove it, one way or another. Thanks, Chief. I believe in ya. How many times must I tell you, I am not your chief? Oh, sorry, Ruffles. Clean forgot you were Chief number 2. That's not what I meant. Ugh. Prosecutor's manner is impenetrable, and he cross-examines his subjects without mercy. Remember, I was rendered speechless before him. But I haven't even said anything yet. Sure, I was the one who made that recording, but I know, you don't need to say any more. At the end of the day, I'm just a lousy reporter who can't speak for herself, let alone the people. That's not true, and even if you can't, the evidence can speak on your behalf. The truth is always hidden within the evidence, and it will always reveal itself in the end. Thanks, Ruffles. I'll be stealing that line if you don't mind. Sure. If it'll cheer her up, I suppose I can let it slide. Damn, No Neck Nicky must be his arch-nemesis. What were those two mobsters in The Simpsons called? There was the one who talked a lot and the one who never talked a lot. Johnny Tightlips, who would never reveal anything, and then his counterpart was loudmouth Frankie the Squealer. That was it. Johnny Tightlips and Frankie the Squealer. Mobsters, not monsters. Kang and Kodos. Well, they're not monsters; they're aliens. I really gotta work on the enunciation, I'm sorry. I know my voice can be hard to parse sometimes because I speak quickly, and that's not great for a voice actor. Six-shot revolver, not easy to acquire in this country. Nope, that wasn't right. That doesn't add up. Better think again there. And we could probably compare these and get the ballistic markings. Nope, never mind. Can't do that either. No logical connection between these two things. Edgeworth, are you stupid? You're distracted. That's alright. You're a busy dragon, I understand. Just you even being here is still astonishing to me, but I very much appreciate it. I'll scour the scene and inspect. Yeah, that's gonna be seeing that text a lot this game. It's a bulletproof attaché case. Bodyguards use them to shield their clients from gunfire. There were some in case photographed too. Looks like Rook and Knight each had one. Designed to provide protection from gunfire, Knight and Rook were each assigned one. Oh hey, that's the photograph I snatched. You could hardly steal a photo at a public event, Kay. But I'm snatching up a moment in time with every picture I take, you know? Take it, snatch is your new favorite word. Oh my god. I might have to screenshot that as the thumbnail. Maybe. I just think about when the Game Grumps were playing Skyward Sword, and Groose goes, "No way I'm letting some scrawny clown snatch that prize up." And then they focus on the fact that he says scrawny clown snatch. And they do like a whole 3-minute bit about that. So the victim was also carrying a revolver. Amazing thing to screenshot, yeah. Looks like he was trying to use it. Probably drew it on instinct when he felt threatened. Should check to see if he managed to fire any rounds off. All there. No other sign of the weapon having been used. Was this one on loan from Zhengfa too? Yep, sure was. We're always issued the same model gun. Has not been fired. Can't get those two guns confused. The victim, Mr. Bastard Rook, bodyguard to the president of Zhang Fa. He's one of those guys that brought up the president inside the plant as soon as the shooting started. Which means he continued to do his duty right up until his dying breath. At least he'll get posthumously promoted? Okay, it's better to know when to say nothing at all than to end up with a foot in your mouth. Man's dead. Shut the fuck up. What do you mean? I mean, bodyguards don't even operate on the same rank promotion system as the police in the first place. That, Edgeworth, please, that's not any better. That is some certified autism to autism communication going on right there. I know that very well as an autistic person myself. The trap door connected to the lever on that curious figure. If someone were to open it, everyone would fall through. Mr. Rook, Mr. De Killer, don't even think about it. I wouldn't dare dream of thinking up ways to take you down. I suggest keeping your monologues internal. Couldn't Shelly the Killer just step off of the thing right now? The bullet seems to have entered just under his arm and went clean through his body. Bullet passed through the victim. Where did it end up? He was hit in an area where his bulletproof vest didn't cover. Like it was on purpose or something, huh? Cause of death would appear to be a loss of blood. Attempts were made to staunch it, but to no avail. Stanch it? Teletism communication. When's an Ace Attorney game gonna make it relevant that the dead body's shit? Never. Nothing ever. No media ever, unless it's addressed as a joke, makes you aware that dead body's shit when someone dies. I mean, it could also be that, you know, they're professional bodyguards. Maybe they voided their bowels before all this happened. They were probably wearing diapers, which if you were here for my stream last night, you would know is something I may have a bit of knowledge about. Cause of death would appear to... stanch. Whatever. Crime scene notes jotted down in my organizer. Victim bled to death from a gunshot wound to the torso. The bullet passed clean through his body. You missed it, TBH? It was at the very end of the stream. I actually was rambling until like 4:30 in the morning after I was done playing Spelunky. Too long, didn't read. I kind of just admitted that I'm a baby fur. And also I'm going to be unboxing Little Trouble Set 3 when that comes out in a couple weeks. I don't know if I'm going to be doing that before or after MagFest, because I don't know when specifically they're going to ship them out. Medics must have been brought in to try to save him. Sadly, it was too little, too late. That's everything. Unless there's something suspicious to look at. Has not been fired. Rook can't turn his head to the right, so he was moved to the right side of the stage. Bullet through the body. Bulletproof vest. Okay. Maybe? Yep. Burb is extra soft. Okay. We're not going to get into that, but no, I am not extra soft. I am not I am not in fact wearing a diaper. That would be a little too weird for me even on stream. Don't worry about that. Of course, if I deny it, people are just going to believe it more. People are just going to believe otherwise more. So, can't really win that conversation. That was over the moment I mentioned it. 2 bullets were fired in total. We know this because 2 shots were heard. Ugh. 2 bullets were fired in total. We know this because 2 shots were heard. One traveled through the flag and into the balloon. The other took Mr. Rook's life. But there's a bullet in the president's vest too, right? How is that possible? How indeed, the numbers don't add up. However, there is one possible explanation. There is? After passing through his body, the bullet that took Mr. Rook's life then found itself lodged in the vest. In other words, 2 of our bullets were in fact 1. No way. He's right. If the president had been wearing that vest, things would have been a lot worse. Didn't mean it now, I just meant in general and specific contexts. I will neither confirm nor deny anything outside the stream. And he wasn't injured at all by the impact. Even when obstructed by a vest, a bullet can inflict serious damage. Sure, known guys who've gotten broken bones that way. But the president's okay. He's made of strong stuff. Sounds like you didn't even need a vest. Let's not get carried away here. I want that bullet's ballistic markings analyzed. Guards, impregnate that man. What are those again? Remind me? Guns leave a unique pattern of grooves on every bullet they fire. By examining these grooves, you can use them to identify which gun it came from. Think of them as fingerprints of a sort. You can tell all that from a bullet? What are we waiting for? Analyze away. Might be easier said than done. That bullet hit solid armor. The impact would have completely flattened it. You'll be lucky if there's anything left for forensics to find. What? But it was all set for some analyzing. The bullet itself was crushed flat by the impact. Knew it. The two guns are exactly the same, meaning it's likely that the one we found is also from Zhengfa. Revolver data updated in the organizer. Bodyguards all got their guns from the Zhengfa authorities, right? Bulletproof attaché case, crime scene notes. Victim bled to death from a gunshot wound to the torso. Bullet passed clean to his body. Designed to protect protection from gunfire, Knight and Rook were each issued one. Bullet itself was crushed flat by the impact. Same model as the victim's gun. Guards, sire that man in air. Yes. Are they, like, super rare or anything? No, I don't believe so. This model isn't exactly easy to come by in this country, but it's certainly not impossible either. Boo, and here I thought they might be valuable treasures. Yes, it's something of a shame. Whoa, I just mentioned treasures and you actually responded for once. Only need me to point out that these guns were rarer, it would be much easier to trace them. Which would have made them treasures of the evidence variety, I suppose. Huh, see? Everything's a treasure hunt, one way or another. Including this investigation. You could say that. Alright then, it's treasure hunting time. On with the investigation. She certainly seems a lot more enthusiastic all of a sudden. That's quite enough investigating for now. What's taking so long, Detective Gumshoe? Well, Mr. Edgeworth, have you solved the case? No, not yet. Is that so? Then perhaps interviewing another key witness might help you to do so. Another witness? Who? You don't mean... The most important witness of all, the man on the other side of that door. He really intends to have me question the President. Now, if you would be so kind as to summon him, Mr. Edgeworth. Stop right there, killer. You're nuts if you think I'd let him anywhere near you. Well, Mr. President, I'm sure you're watching us through that security feed, aren't you? In which case, I politely request that you show yourself. That is, if you value your bodyguard's life. Ugh. Well then, if nothing else, we now know what kind of man you really are. Mr. President! Stop, you can't do this! Let's all just calm down, alright? Come on, Detective, where in the blazes are you? Ah! The lights, what's happening? President valuing another person's life? Nah, never happens. Yeah, exactly. Listen well, Mr. Edgeworth, I would advise you to stay very still. It seems I will not be granted my audience with the President after all, even with Mr. Knight's life as my bargaining chip. No, stop! Ah! Kay, you won't get away with this, the killer! I have seen enough, and I now know the truth. Where are you? Where did you go? Ah! I leave the rest in your capable hands, Mr. Edgeworth. And we'll never see him again. Worth. Stir. Edgeworth. Detective Gumshoe? Sir! Mr. Edgeworth, sir! March 25th, 4:45 p.m. Zhengfa Presidential Plane. Must have been knocked unconscious. Sir, you're okay! Wow, that happened in the last game, too. He got whacked on the head. Are you alright, Mr. Edgeworth? Never mind me. He didn't hurt you, did he, Kay? No, I'm fine. Only just woke up myself. My head will be sore for a while, but that's about it. So you could stop worrying. Detective, did you manage to stop the killer? Well, see, Miss Lloyd came running out of the plane, and, she told us he'd flown the coop already. We were too late. I'm sorry, sir. Bodyguard over there told us something, too. Seems there's an inflatable boat missing from by the window. The killer must have stolen it and rowed himself across the lake. Oh yeah, it's gone now. In the corner there. What about the cordon around the park? Called everybody back in to stake out the plane, including the guy stationed across the water. No. So it's completely slipped through our fingers. Not the best look for the department, but yeah. Hey, Edgeworth. Mr. Knight, you're alive. Yeah, no thanks to that murderer. Oh, that reminds me. Found this lying on the ground next to you, Mr. Edgeworth. A calling card, marked with a seashell. Guess he wanted to leave a message. Left behind by the assassin Shelley the Killer when he made his escape, adorned with his distinctive seashell emblem. The killer usually leaves these next to the bodies of his victims. But you're not dead, sir. But I could have been. Maybe that's the message. That's the exact same image that they use, like same angle, same lighting as everything, as they use at the end of Ace Attorney 2. Except it doesn't have the picture of Phoenix's face on it. The fourth piece of evidence that Phoenix never got back. Can't stop thinking about his parting words. And now I know the truth. And the truth about what? Truth about what? Actually, now that I think about it, the killer in this game is definitely more of a good guy overall. There's just a few things he does during the course of it that kind of push him there. By the way, I mean, that obviously is spoilers, but yes, we will see him again. Of course we will. You really think he's just going to show up, say, I know the truth, and then disappear forever? Come on. He's a fan-favorite character. That's why they brought him back for this game. And gave him a bigger role. Roger that. All clear out here, sir. Over. What's going on? That was the president. He's coming out. He's coming out. Now? Beef McChungus. So he's the president of Zhang Fa, Mr. Dijun Wang. Wang. It's Wang, I think, because I don't know. Couldn't read the accents. Okay, Goku. No, to be honest, even Goku's not sculpted like that. Goku looks fairly like Goku's got big pectorals, but like when he's wearing clothes, you do not see his like musculature like that all the way through. Musculature, as Vinny Vinesauce would say. And I guess George Takei, because I'm pretty sure that's who he's imitating. And you are? It's an honor to meet you, Mr. President. My name is Miles Edgeworth. The honor is all mine, Mr. Edgeworth. I am Dijun Wang. Your efforts on behalf of Zhang Fa have not gone unnoticed. You averted something of a crisis. I'm gonna say King Enma, but I don't know, okay? He's got the beard. He must be referring to the Yatagarasu case. Thank you, sir, but all I did was solve a few local cases of murder. You are too humble. I've been observing your investigation. You're an impressive operator, Mr. Edgeworth. Even if the killer did get away. It's very kind of you to say, so he was watching the security feed. Sadly, I must inform you that this is as far as your investigation goes. What do you mean? Hear me, foolish prosecutor. I'm holding up my middle finger. No, I'm not. For I shall say this only once. Knight has apprised me of the state of affairs. And from this point forward, the case will be handled by Zhang Fa's police force. The finest in the world. Even with the killer out of the picture, they're still looking to get me thrown off the case. What do you think you're doing, pal? Nobody talks to Mr. Edgeworth like that. If it hadn't been for him, the killer would have... Detective. Forgive him, Mr. President, but I must confess to being somewhat confused. Have I failed to see how or why this case falls within Zhang Fa's jurisdiction? You fail to see? Enough, puny prosecutor. You seek explanations from the head of state? I will say not. I will say no. 1,000 times no. I will not explain myself to you. Now hand over the evidence you have gathered and remove yourselves from my plane. I'd do as he says if I were you, Mr. Edgeworth. This can't really be the end of the line, can it? Case evidence handed to Mr. Knight. Oof. Why? Why did this come so far only to pull the case out from under us? About 40... Of course. About 40 minutes in, snort. Remove. Like that. Oh, man. Winter month is causing all the congestion? No, it's also because I'm not properly hydrated and I'm talking. Trying to voice act a lot. And all these characters I'm giving deep, growly, phlegmy voices to. Now you may leave. Knight, detain the suspect. Yes, sir. Right away. To make an attempt on my life, to murder one of my faithful servants. The effrontery, the villainy. I didn't murder nobody. Cause I... Shut your mouth, Miss Journalist. Answer me this. In a world already lousy with lies, with deception, with sin and iniquity, can we stand by and suffer yet another crime to go unpunished? I say no, 1,000 times no. There can be no forgiveness. There can be no surrender. Why, you ask me? Then I will tell you. He's hiding something. I'm certain of it. And if I leave now, we'll never know the truth. Mr. Edgeworth, sir. Mr. Edgeworth, there's got to be something we can do. Why do we care about this dude again? What an asshat. Well, he is a president. Think, Miles. Remember. How many times have you faced situations like this in the courtroom? You've confronted the lies of witnesses and countered the arguments of other lawyers. Has the critical evidence always been laid at your feet? No. And yet you always got to the truth of the situation in the end. With your greatest weapon of all, your words. We chessing? Yep, we're chessing. Now, let us analyze the state of play. Nothing. The PS5 state, the Sony state of play, there's nothing. Those are the only 2 games we're getting all year. Begone, puny prosecutor, or do you dare defy the direct order of our president? He's not going to listen. He means to drown out any objection by means of pure rhetorical force. When an opponent is on the offensive, the best thing to do is bide my time and wait for an opening. As he said himself, he's a head of state, a seasoned politician. He won't open himself up to attack easily. Can't let him bully me into submission. Have to stay calm and alert. If I can read his movements and expressions correctly, I may be able to find my moment. My first aim should be to find out why he's insisting on Zheng Fa taking over the case. The board is set. Time to make my opening gambit. Mind chess! Commence! So who will take over the case? Please, about the case. Did I give you permission to speak? No! 1,000 times no! I'm the leader of Zheng Fa. I have no time for your insolent backchat. I'm simply hoping to confirm one basic fact. You say that the investigation will now be assigned to your national police force? I do. Now enough of your pointless questions. Good boy. The interior of this plane is the sovereign territory of Zheng Fa. You have no rights here. Is that so? Could it be that our current location itself is significant somehow? Of course, his chess pieces are in Rook and a Knight, yeah. He would be the dude to actually cause a war. Yep, he's very full of himself. I should keep that in mind. It could be a useful clue. So we'll take over the case. Could you please explain to me why I'm off the case? Imbecile, cease your insolent jabbering! They said at the beginning that trust in him is very low. Tabby actually said his approval rating is very low, and also the police force, or rather law enforcement in Zhang Fa does not like him. So, he's apparently very unpopular. I need not explain myself to you. My reasons are my own, and they are none of your concern. Meanwhile, Edgeworth's chess piece is a checker chip, and it's a gumshoe. That's a good one, Razu. It's time to employ my clue. In the course of our conversation, I've deduced certain facts about your behavior. I've deduced... Isn't it deduced with a D at the end? I think that might be a typo. In the course of our conversation, I've deduced certain facts from your behavior, Mr. President. For example, you seem particularly aggressive when discussing our current location. You smarmy smart aleck. As you said before, the presidential plane is the sovereign territory of Zhang Fa. And from what we can infer, it's correct, okay. That you believe the rules of extraterritoriality... Oh god, this word again. That you believe the rules of extraterritoriality to apply inside here. Is that correct? Enough! Cease your objectionable whining! Things getting too hot for you? No. I'll just result in a bad answer. If you have nothing else to say, then stop wasting my time and get out of my sight. Maybe there's such a thing as biding my time too much. Oops. Don't bully me onto the back foot. I have to stay calm and alert. I can read his movements and expressions correctly. I may be able to find an opening. You can rant and roar all you like, but it won't escape my scrutiny. It was unmistakable. The moment I mentioned extraterritoriality, you became visibly agitated. You think you're clever, don't you? Let me answer your little question. It's true. Extraterritoriality applies. Your laws mean nothing here. And why does that matter, you ask? It matters because it means you are powerless. You have neither influence nor authority here. Interesting. So the extraterritoriality issue does have something to do with all this. Let's dig a little deeper into the claim that the plane is sovereign territory, shall we? Edgeworth's piss meter has been refilled. He's not going to pee himself now, don't worry. The next move will surely decide the victor. Maybe the president, but nobody's untouchable. Just have to find the right angle of attack. Does that rule really apply here? You believe that extraterritoriality applies here, but can you prove it? Do you even understand what you are saying? Asking. Of course, if I didn't, I wouldn't ask it. Have you no shame? Going to question the good word of one such as myself? You must have realized by now what a massive corner you've talked yourself into. That's wrong. Worthless, meaningless bluster. Some pathetic ploy to buy time, perhaps. Maybe it was a little pathetic to chime in there like that. I have no more time for this. You clearly cannot be saved from your own foolishness. You needn't worry about me. I'm not the one who needs saving. That would be Miss Lloyd, the woman who's being wrongfully accused of this crime. Her chivalry is admirable. However, it changes nothing. The right to extraterritoriality cannot be denied. This is Zhang Fa. If I want to take this any further, I'll need a clue of some kind. Let me try another tack for now. Surely you see you've overplayed your hand. Just got the mental image of these two pulling out chess pieces from their pockets and flicking it at each other while they argue. Nobody asked for your opinion. You need only obey me, nothing else. You dare tell me how to govern, how to lead? You dare contradict me? On the matter of Miss Lloyd's guilt, yes, I do. No, she is guilty. She's the culprit. There is nothing left to debate. Nope, that was bad. Who else could have fired from outside the plane? There's no other viable suspect. Can't this be Dungeon Dice Monsters instead? My brother had the GBA game of Dungeon Dice Monsters. Said it was very weird. Fascinating. So he's claiming that Miss Lloyd fired at him from outside the plane. This could be a vital clue. Time to deploy my clue. She fired at you from outside the plane, you say? I may not be able to call the extraterritoriality of the presidential plane into doubt. However, according to you, she shot at you from outside the aircraft, correct? In which case, extraterritoriality could not possibly apply in this case. Your assertion is entirely without merit, and the detainment of Miss Lloyd cannot be justified. Oh, how could I have... bested by a mere prosecutor! I'm the president! The president! Checkmate. Mind chess. Checkmate. Brain chess. I trust you won't mind if we continue our investigation now, Mr. President. Hereby officially and unreservedly confer my approval. Consider it a gesture of the magnanimity and generosity for which my good office is known. Yes, for without noble acts such as these, unmistakably and irrefutably, for which reason, hereby, there can be no other outcome, for our goals are lofty and our hearts. People of Zangfa, I swear to you here and now, this investigation will continue. All that when you could just said, okay, you got me. Sound like a bit like Inspector Gadget. I'm always on duty. That did not sound like Inspector Gadget. Mind chess complete. All that when he could have just said, okay, got me. Mr. Knight, if you would care to return the evidence. Heh, take it. Case evidence retrieved from Mr. Knight. You did it, Mr. Edgeworth. We sure did, Goku. You did it, Goku. We sure did, and now the investigation can continue. Whatever, enjoy your pocket full of pawns. I'll be over here enjoying how you put them into play. You'll definitely enjoy my next move. Mr. President, one more favor if you'd be so kind. What is it? Could you please give us your testimony concerning the incident itself? Now you want me to testify? Whoa, that's your next move? You want the President to testify, you'll have to take him to court. All in good time, Mr. Knight. He will get his day in court soon enough. But if a person of interest refuses to cooperate at the investigative stage of the process, they are obliged to provide detailed justification as to their reasons for doing so. That's... What's the matter? Is there something you'd rather we didn't know? Stand down, Knight. I'll do as the prosecutor asks. Thank you for your cooperation. Now listen, and listen well. And Nick lose it if you keep doing that. What the I'm always on duty voice. Penny, watch over the house for me while I'm gone on this case. You have a new EOB. Fuck that. I don't care about my EOBs. Give me better coverage. President Wang's testimony. I keep saying Wang because there's no accent, but it's I think it's supposed to be Wang. President Wang's testimony. Where was I when the incident occurred? The stage, of course. Suddenly, Rook and Knight jumped in front of me. Then, bang! A shot rang out, and a plain, unblemished balloon of red exploded nearby. Not hesitating for an instant, my bodyguards tried to escort me back to the safety of the plane. And then, the second shot. The bullet went right through Rook and lodged itself in the bulletproof vest I was wearing. Guess if you look at it in one way, President is also a victim here. Yes, the victim of an attempted assassination. Rook was simply in the wrong place at the wrong time. That makes it even weirder. Why would the target of a crime try to obstruct the investigation? My guess is that there's something behind all this that he doesn't want made public. Cover-up, huh? Knew there was more to this case than meets the eye. And the President is the only one who knows this truth. Isn't that right, Mr. Knight? Time to get to the bottom of this once and for all. Rebuttal. Shot rang out in a plain, unblemished balloon of red. Exploded nearby. That's not what exploded.
Objection!
Yeah, it's a pretty easy one. Jesse, we need to cook, Jesse. You say it was a plain red balloon that burst, but I strongly beg to differ. Take a look at this. I think you'd agree it's hardly plain, wouldn't you? No! What? Who is that? Mr. President, meet the Steel Samurai. I would have hoped you might recognize it. Among Us? Damn it, you. Damn you.
Among Us!
You know what? Just for good measure. You know what? Since we're playing lawyers too, let's throw one of these in there. There's the whole song. Just don't want the whole thing to play out.
Me? Gungaga.
Mr. President, meet the Steel Samurai. I would have hoped you might recognize him. Especially if you were hoping to ingratiate yourself with the people of this country. Yeah, you need to watch the Gambit Ninja, too. He's amazing. So you see, the balloon that was struck by the bullet was anything but plain. It was, in fact, of the Steel Samurai. But the briefing mentioned 2 plain red balloons. That's interesting. How would you have not seen that if you were standing there? And there they are, right in the security plan. They do look pretty plain, don't they? Just simple, round balloons. Like these. Like these. 2 simple, round balloons. Knight, what is the meaning of this? Explain yourself. Yes, Mr. President. Seems the Steel Samurai balloon was borrowed at the last minute, sir. Borrowed? That's what we were told. Guess they only reported the incident to us bodyguards, though. Seems there was a little trouble here on site last night. One of the original balloons burst somehow. So they were swapped it in as an emergency replacement. Yeah, one of the stall holders happened to have it. From what I hear, he was more than willing to lend it out. Very happy-go-lucky kind of guy, they said. Happy-go-lucky stall holder with a Steel Samurai balloon to spare, huh? They, you know who that is. They fill the bottom part up with air just to make it look like the other ornamental balloon. So while it was a Steel Samurai balloon, it was made to look like a plain red one above the water. Steel Samurai butt inflation cannon. Is that the long and short of it? Knight, why was I not informed of this? Sorry, sir, we didn't think it was a pressing issue. And indeed, you saw it and knew no different, correct? Yes, I suppose so. You really have mistaken the Steel Samurai's pants for a plain red balloon? Still, Mr. President, I struggle to see how you wouldn't have noticed something different about the balloon. Of course! Well, what's that outburst for? Now I remember. Could barely see the balloon. You couldn't see it. That's right, the wind was blowing too hard. Flags to the sides of the stage were flapping incessantly and blocking the view. Is that so? Yes, those 2 flags. They were being blown back towards me. That's contradiction. There was a strong wind blowing right around the time of the incident. Strong enough to blow these flags in such a fashion. Does that conflict with any of our understanding of the case? Yes, it does. Thank you, Mr. President. Your testimony has revealed yet another contradiction. It has? Yes, a contradiction that could turn this entire case on its head. When I arrived on the scene, the wind had died down and the flags were resting calmly for the most part. But if the wind had previously been blowing the flags as the President describes, a certain piece of evidence suddenly takes on a very different meaning. Which piece of evidence contradicts the stated conditions of the stage at the time of the incident? The trajectory!
Take that!
Earlier we deduced that the bullet that struck the Steel Samurai balloon and the bullet that passed through the flag were one and the same. From these two things, we further deduce that the trajectory the bullet must have taken. And we concluded that our shooter must have fired from the left side of the spectator area. But if the flags are blowing as the President describes, our conclusion becomes quite different. No way, if the flags were pointing in the other direction... Exactly, our trajectory changes completely. And if we trace that trajectory back to the source, we can ascertain who really fired that shot. Wait, but Mr. Edgeworth, that would mean... Yes, I know, we may not understand the reason why, but it can only have been one person who did it. Who is the bullet's new trajectory implicate as the one that fired the shot? Knight, sorry. I might do that a few times.
Take that!
The person who fired that shot was none other than you, Mr. Knight. What? The path from the balloon back to the flag leads directly to the spot where you were standing. Extrapolations from bullet trajectories suggest that Knight fired the shots that popped the balloon. The guy's one of the President's bodyguards. Why the heck would he go around shooting balloons? This is absurd. What exactly are you trying to imply? That Mr. Knight, a man who has saved my life countless times, is my would-be assassin? Seriously, Edgeworth. Put up a lot from you, but this? We're President Wong's bodyguards. We're the pieces put on the board to protect the king. I'll handle this, Knight. Sorry, sir. Mr. Edgeworth, the wind was indeed blowing quite fiercely at the time of my speech. But the wind can pick up and die in an instant, can it not? Therefore, I need proof. Proof that it was blowing hard enough to lift the flags during that crucial moment. First shot was fired right around the time the President raised his fist. I have a piece of evidence that shows just that. Perhaps it also shows us what was happening with the flag then, too. Nope. No. Well, would the flags be visible if they were blowing back?
Take that!
Your proof is in this picture, right here. This should be good. Which picture? Where? You can see the flag is which way the flag is really blowing right here. Oh, that is the flag right there. I thought that was a design on the plane.
Take that!
Well, do you deny that it clearly shows the flag there? There we have it. Proof that it was blowing towards you at the moment of the shooting. So that means our pal over there did shoot the balloon, making him the assassin? Mr. Knight is not the assassin. Mr. Knight is not the assassin. He may have shot the balloon, but the President was on the other side of him entirely. Therefore, he can't possibly have been aiming at his boss. Yeah, besides, why would he even shoot the balloon? Yeah, what would be the point? And watch how you answer. I might aim for something else next. There was a point, I'm sure of it. If I could figure out what it was, perhaps I could finally put this whole conundrum to rest. Knight definitely shot the balloon. The fact alone changes everything about the case. Knight's position... Why did Knight's assigned position change? I told you, can't turn my neck to the right. But is that the only reason? Let's suppose that the plan hadn't changed, that Knight had remained positioned on the left. Given that he was unable to turn his head to the right, would he even been able to shoot the balloon closest to him? Could it be that the security plan was changed for the express purpose of popping one of the balloons? And if we suppose that to be the case, the two plans are different. Was the security detail reorganized at some point? Yeah, we made some last-minute changes yesterday. The President's orders. That's right, the President was the one who ordered the change. They knew about the assassination attempt, so the balloon was popped to distract them. Clearly. I'm reading things right. The President knew in advance about the balloon shooting, which means he must have had foreknowledge he would be in someone's crosshairs today as well. And if that's true, then everything else that's been bothering me falls neatly into place. How did the shooter get a gun past such heavy security? And why would they then carry out the shooting wearing such a conspicuous item of clothing? The song is really good too. This is the truth theme for this game. Why use a laser sight that would have given away their location in an instant? And how did the president suffer no injuries at all despite a direct hit to his vest? These are questions that Knight and his president and the president don't want us to consider. There's only one possible reason for Mr. Knight to have fired his gun. To create the illusion of an assassination attempt. What? Huh? Idiot, you understand what you're saying? Oh, I understand all too well. I understand everything now. Most of all, I understand why you were so keen to take this investigation off my hands, Mr. President. You wanted your real plans to remain hidden. How dare you speak to me that way? Is that some sort of sick joke? Oh, it's no joke, I assure you. It's simply the truth, as revealed by the careful application of logic and reasoning. Nothing more. The first shot was fired by Mr. Knight with the specific intention of hitting that balloon. The sound of gunfire and the bursting of the balloon were guaranteed to cause a panic. And then he fired again. He did? Yes, he fired 2 bullets, both of which were aimed at the balloon. As for why he did so, it's because the second shot was designed to create the impression that the president had been hit. So then what's the deal with the one in the vest? Willing to bet that bullet was planted there long before the shooting ever occurred. So Mr. Heroic President didn't take a bullet after all? Hold it. That's not true. I was shot, I tell you. We'll be able to verify that for ourselves once we take a closer look at the bullet. At the very least, we can expect to find traces of Mr. Rook's blood on it, correct? He looks like he's about to pop. This might be a good thumbnail for this part, actually. But you said it yourself. You found the shooter in a photograph. The person with the red hood.
Objection!
I thought I made myself clear. The trajectory points to only one possible shooter, Mr. Knight. Then where did Tabby fit in all this? She was simply one part of their plan. In order to take the suspicion elsewhere, they set about creating a fake assassin. The highly suspicious person with the red hood. Oh, that's Kay that said that. The highly suspicious person with the red hood. I've yet to ascertain exactly how complicit Miss Lloyd was in their whole scheme. But I could say with some confidence that none of the shots were fired by her. I suspect her only job was to point a laser sight at the president. That's right. Then I was tasked with turning in your jacket inside out the moment the crowd flew into a panic. Yes. Thus making the mysterious red-hooded shooter disappear in the blink of an eye. Then, when the gun and security plan were later found in the trash can, it would have all appeared to have been the work of an assassin so skilled they could vanish into thin air. Then the case would have gone cold! Exactly what our friends were hoping for. Makes sense now why they would want you off the case. Indeed. Because the entire affair was a cheap ruse perpetrated by the president himself. Oh, and there they go. Oh. Anyway. Yeah, he went from bodybuilder to bear in an instant. No, oh. Presidential mask has well and truly slipped. Yeah, he deflated. He was canonically inflated. He was muscle inflated. Swear to God, this game is canonizing all sorts of inflation. And you know what? It keeps doing it too. Because I just remembered stuff like this comes up again. Admit it, the entire assassination was a lie, wasn't it? Oh, if that stupid chief prosecutor hadn't insisted on assigning you. Oh, how could I let this happen?
Objection!
Oh, there's the objection. That's enough, Mr. Edgeworth. Mr. Knight. Sorry, but I'm speaking with the president right now. Yeah, well, I'm doing my job of protecting my king. He's so friggin' cool. so go ahead. Keep running your mouth. Perhaps it would be better if we stuck to threatening each other with words. He wouldn't, would he? Nah, I don't need this thing to shut you up. Alright, my move. Question. You claim I fired my gun from on stage. How did you figure that I did that in front of a crowd of thousands? An excellent point. Time for my counter move, I suppose. You had a certain something that allowed you to conceal your actions. A certain something, huh? Mighty specific. What did Mr. Knight use to hide his actions from the crowd? The attaché case.
Take that!
My attaché case. Yes, take a look at Kay's photograph. Every time I do, it makes me laugh. Your right hand is completely obscured by the case. I knew he was up to something back there. The very moment this picture was taken, you were firing your gun. In such a way that you wouldn't be detected.
Objection!
You don't like to let the facts get in the way of a good theory, do you, Edgeworth? Shame you don't seem to have noticed. Noticed what? That theories are all you have. Conjectures. Nothing more. That flag was billowing in the wind at precisely the right moment. I hid my gun with my attaché case. We changed the security plan because I couldn't turn my head. It's all just speculation. Circumstantial evidence at best. You can't prove any of it. If you at least had the bullet that burst the balloon, you might have a scrap of credibility. Imagine, you could have run forensics to see if it matched my gun. But no, that bullet's at the bottom of the lake. Gonna go dredge it up. Hate to say it, but he's right. I don't have anything concrete. Cement, that's concrete, baby! I thought not. Maybe now you could shut your mouth. Hold it! Miss Lloyd. Of course, she could shed some light in this whole situation. Just need to get her to talk. What's the matter? Something you want to say, Miss Journalist? No, never mind. That's what I thought. Miss Lloyd, I need you to be brave. If you don't speak up, the truth will be lost forever. You're a journalist, after all, are you not? Dang it, I can't stay quiet any longer. Hey, you understand what you're doing, right? I think carefully before opening that mouth of yours. I was so focused on bagging me a scoop, I forgot the most important thing of all. Real journalists don't lie. Ain't no dang scoop if it ain't the truth. I'm sorry, Mr. Edgeworth, I should have showed you this before. What is it? It's the laser pointer I used on the president. So wait, if we had taken this... If we'd actually lost custody of this case, they probably would have just let her go. Because they would have been like, thank you for doing your job, now get out of here. But Mr. Rook would still be dead, so that's not a good outcome. It's the laser pointer I used on the president. But that's all I'd done. I never shot nobody. You stupid. Thought I told you. You squeal, you go down as an accomplice. It was him. He told me to do it. I was at Zhengfa's embassy sniffing out a story like I told you. This was 3 days back. Comes up to me out of the blue and just starts talking. Help me out and I'll get you an exclusive access to the president. That kind of stuff. What about the gun in the trash can? That I don't know nothing about, I swear. All he told me was to wear a jacket with a red hood and to point that there pointer at the president. Never thought for a minute it'd blow up in my face so bad. I'm sorry. Truly I am. Thank you, Miss Lloyd. I'd like you to testify to that effect when this goes to trial. It ought to go a long way towards proving that the assassination was a sham. Ugh, what's wrong with you people? Any of you know what's good for you? My sympathies, Mr. Knight. Had you successfully removed me from this case as you intended, perhaps then you could have kept your pawn quiet, That face. Forgot about that one. Let me get this straight. You told Tabby, if you let slip on about our fake assassination plot, we'll have you convicted for murder. Or something like that? All the dirty! I said no such thing. Hold it. President Wong. Give it up, Knight. It's time we came clean. It's our only choice. So, Mr. President, you admit it? Admit that there was a plot to fake an assassination attempt? I do. I'm sorry. But why? Why do something like that? My popularity has been on the wane back home. I thought surviving an attempt on my life might give me the boost I needed. I know what we did was wrong, so yes, it was all lies, all of it. And the bullet in the vest? It was planted ahead of time. It wasn't hit by anything today. Told you, poor trigger discipline, yep. Prop used in the stage assassination attempt. Flattened bullet was also planted ahead of time. But then, what was up with the killer? Our plan got out somehow, and then he just appeared, hell-bent on turning our fake assassination into a real one. Hence the red raincoat, I suppose. He'd hoped to get in close enough as the fake assassin to finish the job. There is one thing I don't understand, though. Oh, what would that be? Why did Rook have to die? If this whole thing was fake, how did he wind up getting killed for real? That's true, and therein lies the real question. He was a fine bodyguard, the best in fact. He may not have been a native of Zhangfa, but he was someone I could fully trust. Mr. Rook must have been really something to gain the trust of someone who would hide from his own shadow. Sounds like he was as trustworthy to the President as I am to you, huh, sir? I believe that's for me to say, Detective, not you. Mr. Rook must have known about the plan too, then, correct? He wasn't aware of any specific details, so not really. I tried to involve him, but he refused. And you would have done well to listen to him. Oh, this is a tragedy. The life of a good man has been wasted. What was so great about him, anyway? What's gotten into him? He was just another piece on the board, there to protect you. Nothing more. Mr. Knight, how could you? Who was it that actually went along with your plan, huh, Mr. President? Well, that pious coward backed down when you needed him to step up the most. I value your support too, of course, but... Look, I'm your chief bodyguard now. That's all that matters. And now that the spineless fool Rook is gone, things are gonna change around here. Thanks to me, genius strategist, grandmaster, rightful leader of this team. We're all aware of your ambitions, Knight. But doesn't this seem a little imprudent to you? Why? My plan this time was perfect. As they always are, as they always will be. That's quite a statement, especially considering your perfect plan was an abject failure. Yeah, no thanks to you and that buffoon Rook. How exactly was it Mr. Rook's fault? If he hadn't died, the killer would have never come after me. And I wouldn't have had to let you onto this plane. Please, Mr. Knight, you mustn't talk like that. Fine. Guy died protecting you, Mr. President. Sure, that's what he always wanted. But did he die to protecting the President? Wait, I thought the whole assassination thing was fake. Oh, come on, do I have to say something twice? We planned a fake assassination, but somebody else came along and tried to make it real. 2 shots were fired, remember? Like you said, Edgeworth, one of them was the bullet I shot through that balloon. But the second? That wasn't me. Oh, really? Then who did fire it? A real assassin, but not the killer. His plan was to come after the President with a knife. No, the most likely suspect here is the Peace cowering quietly in the corner. Our lily-white queen over there. What? Miss Lloyd? Again with this? I'm not your danged assassin. But is that really true? I, for one, don't believe it. The gun in the trash can? It could only belong to you. Even he has standards, yeah. Knight's Gambit. As soon as I shot that balloon, I rushed over to help Rook escort the President back onto the plane. Left Rook here in this room while I secured the President in the safe room. When I came back out, Rook was lying there on the ground. Miss Journalist must have shot Rook while we were escorting the President off stage. That single killer shot was fired by the gun you found in the trash can. So you don't actually know when the victim was struck by the bullet, do you? The Knight doesn't protect the Rook, Edgeworth. He protects the King. You want to translate? He means that his only concern was protecting the President. Lose the King and you lose the game. Isn't that the first rule of chess? But a win in which a key piece is sacrificed is a hollow victory, indeed. Doesn't matter, it's still a victory. Kept the president safe, I win. Well, it's a bit early to be calling our little match in any case, but this is where our battle really begins.
Hold it!
Weren't you and Mr. Rook both carrying bulletproof attaché cases? Yeah, opened them right after Rook spotted the laser sight. Moved into covering positions and used them to shield the president. So the bullet that hit Mr. Rook traveled through a gap in that defensive shield. Do you really believe Miss Lloyd to be that skilled a marks person? No, she was aiming for the president. Makes her a lousy shot. So it's pure coincidence that Mr. Rook was hit. And the bullet simply happened to find its way past your attaché cases and through the gap in his vest. Seems crazy to me too, but the facts are facts. It was a shot in a million, but the shooter hit the bullseye, and the proof is in your hands. Single killer shot was found by the gun you found in the trash can. I mean, they're saying single shot,
Objection!
but it's been fired twice. So you contend that it was you who shot the balloon and Miss Lloyd who shot Mr. Rook. Are you sure about that? Sure, I'm sure. While what you've proposed would indeed match up with the total number of shots heard, the gun from the trash can itself has also been fired twice. Now, why would the supposed number of shots heard from this gun differ from the number of spent rounds? It's simple, because it was planted by the real perpetrator of the crime. Somebody faked the evidence? Yes, and if you think about it, their reasoning for doing so is obvious. To ensure that whoever found the gun would conclude that the shooter had been in the spectator area. And in order to do that, they had to make it seem as if both shots had come from one weapon. I get it, so that's why it's got 2 spent rounds, huh? Precisely. As we've already proven, the bullet that burst the balloon came from a different weapon, which makes it entirely possible that the bullet which killed Mr. Rook didn't come from this gun either. Nice work, Edgeworth. That's some high-grade sleuthing. But why don't you get to the point? You've come this far. Spit it out. Oh, I intend to, don't worry. The person who really shot Mr. Rook was...
Take that!
You, Mr. Knight. You're the one who murdered Mr. Rook. Oh, finally got up to the courage to say it, huh? Surely not. Surely you wouldn't have. It wasn't only the killer who tried to take advantage of this fake murder plot. You killed Mr. Rook, hoping that he would look like an accidental victim of the bungled assassination. With the president locked away in the safe room and the door of the airplane tightly closed, it was just you and Mr. Rook, alone, together, passionately, naked, making out. And that was when the third bullet was fired, right into your colleague's body.
Objection!
Wait, you're really gonna claim there's a third one now? You just said only 2 gunshots were heard. Want to tell me how that works?
Objection!
Airplane cabins are practically soundproof, Mr. Knight. If you close the door, nothing can be heard from the outside. Not even gunfire. Wasn't the president right next door? Very true, which means he may have heard the shot himself. Well, Mr. President, I didn't hear anything. Can you observe that? You can observe this room through your security feeds, can you not? The camera in this room isn't normally on. I had to manually switch it on when I entered the safe room. And that's what you did this time too, right? Well, that is... It's gotten into him. Mr. President, this is vitally important. Please, President Wong. I was busy hiding under the bed, covering my ears. What? Even though you knew the whole thing wasn't real? Yes, because I hate the sound of guns! Just the slightest hint of that awful noise and oh, just too much. Oof. That there sat in a pot of overcooked crawfish. Ahem. Mr. Knight, you saw You saw that President Wang was covering under the... I need to hydrate right now. Mr. Knight, oh! This is killing my throat. Mr. Knight, you saw that President Wang was... Fuck. President Wingus and Dingus. You saw that President Wang was cowering beneath the bed. And what's more, you knew from the monitor bank that the security camera from this room hadn't been switched on. Which means you knew that the circumstances were perfect. I do like that the image hasn't changed, so the killer is still here in that image. Which means you knew the circumstances were perfect for you to fire the third shot straight at Mr. Rook. Knight, how could you? Could you really have betrayed my trust so horribly? Think I killed the old halfwit? You don't trust me much, huh? This is the thanks I get for putting my life on the line for you day after day. I want to believe you, but I don't get it. I just don't get it. What is there to doubt here? What, you don't believe that the girl over there could have done it? No, because this gun isn't the murder weapon. We know from this number of shots fired. Yeah, well, how do you know there wasn't a spent bullet from the start? What? Someone could have fired a bullet from that gun yesterday, or the day before. Then today, another bullet. The bullet that hit Rook. That's pure speculation, pal, and you know it! 5 cents saved for the monitor, yeah. Maybe, but can you prove it's not true? Not with any certainty, no. You're nothing without conclusive proof, so come on! A single piece of evidence straight to my heart. I dare ya! Well, what are you waiting for? Ugh. There must be something. Mustn't there, Mr. Edgeworth? If we can't prove it, Tabby's... Please, Ruffles. I messed up, I know I did. Should never have done what I did, not even for a scoop. But murder? Nah, that ain't me. Ain't a murderous bone in my body. Conclusive proof. If only I could prove that Knight's gun is the murder weapon. Wait, perhaps I can. You said the bullet that burst the balloon, you might be able to get a scrap of credibility. Could have run forensics on it. If we had the bullet that killed Mr. Rook. Forensics could tell us which gun it was fired from. No proof, no case. End of conversation.
Objection!
Hold it right there. What now? You're not about to claim you do have proof. Of course I do. This ought to be good. Alright, bring it on. Show me this proof of yours. The bullet that killed Mr. Rook is the key to ending our little game. Very well, my conclusive evidence is... not currently in my possession. Alright then, thanks for playing, folks, but that's game over. However, it is here in this room. What? As we know, the bullet that killed Mr. Rook passed through his body. But where did it end its journey? Perhaps we should cast our minds back to an earlier conversation. The bullet took Mr. Life's Rook, then found itself lodged in the vest. Now, of course, we know that this so-called assassination attempt was a complete fabrication. The vest was prepared in advance, made to look as if it had been hit by a bullet. Which begs the question, where is the real bullet? I like it, a twist. It's good stuff, Edgeworth. Come on then, don't keep us in suspense. Does any of the evidence point to where the bullet might have killed Mr. Rook ended up?
Take that!
There's something very clearly missing from this room. Yes, a prosecutor with some common sense. Take a look at this bank of security monitors right behind you. Oh! I see you've caught on, Mr. President. Splendid. There are screens here showing views from all around the airplane, inside and out. The only external angle not covered is the right-hand side of the aircraft. And that's because one of the monitors is missing. There was a monitor in that space previously, wasn't there, Mr. President? There was. I have no idea what my plushie is doing there now, though. It appears to be someone's vain attempt to hide what is obviously lacking. But where did it go, and why? The why is easy enough to answer, because it was struck by a bullet. If we were to believe that the bullet in the vest was the real deal, then anything that hinted at the existence of another bullet had to be removed. So where did the missing monitor go? Where indeed? I believe it must be hidden somewhere on this plane. After all, there wouldn't have been time to dispose of it outside the aircraft. Detective Gumshoe, conduct a search if you would. Right away, sir. Mr. President, extraterritoriality, remember? I have no objections to the search. Please, go ahead. It will help us discover the truth behind what happened to Rook. I will not stand in your way. What are you? I don't believe this! Rook this, Rook that. Don't you ever think about anybody else? Search has been authorized, Detective, if you wouldn't mind. Sir, found the monitor. Excellent work. Now go ahead and extract the bullet. Let's see, if I put my hand in here and just... Come on, come on, come on. Got it. Well, would you look at that? Blood. This is the bullet that killed Mr. Rook. There's no doubt about it. Bloody bullet jotted down in the organizer. Seems to be the bullet that killed Rook. And there you have it, Mr. Knight. The single piece of evidence you requested, straight through your heart. Even you must admit, this bullet didn't come from the spectator area gun. That Miss Lloyd cannot be Mr. Rook's killer. What, no pithy comeback? Detective, have forensics analyze the bullet for striations. Striations? And compare them to the gun we found. Yes, sir. Get the evidence you need. You can count on it. Alright, let's hear what the forensics have to say. Our findings are as follows, sir. Firstly, the blood on the bullet is indeed that of the victim, proving that it was the bullet that killed Mr. Rook. Secondly, we found Mr. Knight's fingerprints on the gun, probably from when I handed all the evidence over to him. Now for the key part, the striations. If they're not a match, then Miss Lloyd is in the clear. Lastly, the striations on the bullet are a match with this weapon. What? But how could that be? No way! Oh, come on! There's no doubt about it, sir. This is the gun that fired that bullet. Oh! Well, isn't that something? Conclusive proof that I was right. Look at that animation. What's the matter? Didn't think you had me backed into a corner, did you? Guess you misread the board. Because the only one backed into a corner here is you. I like how Wong's belly is just sticking out of his shirt. Knight's counter. There's no denying it. Forensics proved the gun and the bullet are a match. The bullet that killed Rook was fired from the gun you found in the spectator area. So who pulled the trigger? Can have been me. I was up on stage. Let's leave your little friend there. That hack killed Rook. She's the murderer, and you just proved it. Your move, Edgeworth, but just remember two things. One, where you found that gun, and two, which gun the fatal bullet came from. Whichever way you look at it, I can't have been the shooter. What if he couldn't have been the shooter? Ugh, how did it come to this? Me and the President, we admitted to faking the assassination attempt. Now it's your turn to admit something. Who the killer really is. No way Tabby did it, is there? Don't let him get to you, Kay. We just need to go over his statements again. There must be something further we could deduce from them. Probably just swap the gun and the attachment since they all look to be the same model. Yeah, all three of them are Zheng Fa models. That much is already established here. Okay, let's do this, Mr. Edgeworth.
Hold it!
No, that's...
Objection!
What was it you said? That forensics would back you up? Nah. How does it feel to be shot in the chest by your unconclusive proof, huh? Not so good, I imagine. The bullet and the gun are a match, Mr. Edgeworth. That kinda has to mean Tabby pulled the trigger, no? Even so, I simply cannot accept that. But sir, there's no denying the evidence. There isn't, so what am I missing? If I assume Miss Lloyd to be innocent, then the gun and the bullet shouldn't be a match. What is it, Kay? I was just thinking, if the evidence points to something that doesn't seem possible, then maybe there's something wrong with it. You're asking me to call the evidence into question. Well, there's no way Tabby did this, right? So if there's evidence that says she did, then the problem must lie there. You seem very sure about this. Call it my great thief's intuition. Intuition, huh? Still, she could be right. Simply don't believe Miss Lloyd to be the malicious liar type, which means... Someone who believes that evidence is everything in court, the irony is not lost on me, but... If I were to call a piece of evidence into question, it would have to be the bullet, the gun. If something untoward is going on here, it would have to involve the weapon, not the bullet. After all, we only just rediscovered the bullet a little while ago. Furthermore, we know that Mr. Knight had an opportunity to handle the gun. Indeed, he had ample opportunity. There's no doubt that this gun is the weapon that was used in the crime, which means it must belong to...
Take that!
The gun belongs to Mr. Knight. He switched them around. This has to be it. That's right, he was holding all the evidence earlier. Mr. Knight's revolver data jotted down in my organizer. Switch for the one found in the spectator area. Bullet magic markings match those of the bullet fired in the incident. Can I just present this statement?
Objection!
Nope. There's an obvious flaw in your testimony. You're right, and it's my greatest flaw of all. Perfection. My testimony's so airtight you couldn't find a contradiction in a million years. So why don't you try again, Edgeworth? Pressure's clearly getting to you. There's nothing I could say to that. I have to go over the evidence in his testimony one more time.
Objection!
Admit it, you switched the guns, didn't you, Mr. Knight? That's why the markings match the weapon in question. It was yours all along. An intriguing move there, Edgeworth. And? You must have made the switch when I handed over the evidence earlier. While I was busy trying to make the case for remaining on the investigation. You took the laser sight from the gun we found in the trash can and put it on your own. Then, not long afterwards, you handed that gun back to me instead of the one we found. I did I? Think I somehow knew you'd find, let alone run forensics on that bullet sometime in the future? Is that so strange? You're a chess player, after all. Man well used to thinking several moves ahead. Once again, Razu, you're right in the money. I'm flattered, but as much as it pains me to admit, you're overestimating my abilities. Besides, you even have any proof I made the switch? Knight's Counter Part 2. Gun's the same model as mine. Weird, sure, but it's just a coincidence. And look, there's a laser sight attached. Also, take another look at the cylinder. 2 spent bullets, just what you'd expect to see. So what proof do you have that I switched the original gun out for mine, huh? None, that's what. You say I'm overestimating your abilities. You surprise me. What can I say? I'm a modest guy. More modest than you, that's for sure. Everywhere except at the chessboard, that is. Well, I don't see a chessboard here, do you? Shame. Still, guess that gives you a nice excuse. I didn't mess up, I just didn't have the right evidence. I don't think I'll be the one making excuses. Rather, I didn't mess up, they just got lucky with the evidence will be your excuse, I'd imagine. I think I managed to probably guess right with a little bit of being trained and think outside the box would really be a top detective in Ace Attorney's reality. True. Almost anyone can. Remember, evidence law in Ace Attorney is a picture book. The bar is not high to clear in that world.
Hold it!
Coincidence, you say? Or was it a necessity? Can't be both, pal. Sure it can. We bodyguards need to protect the president. And the girl needed to use a gun, but she probably doesn't know a whole lot about them. Not so far-fetched for her to pick something she's heard of that we also happen to use. Okay, but why a revolver? Why is that your go-to gun? It's probably something to do with its ease of use. No spent casings to chase down, for example. Exactly. Perfect tool for a job where you can't afford to fail. Or don't know what you're doing. Still, coincidence, necessity, doesn't make a whole lot of difference either way.
Hold it!
Because you swapped it on there. Put up or shove, Edgeworth. Where's your evidence? Well, that is... Don't go making accusations you can't back up. Or did your daddy never teach you that? As it stands, the facts are in my favor here. Oof, which daddy? Von Karma or Gregory?
Hold it!
I mean to ask, actually. What about your own weapon? How many spent bullets are in its cylinder? This old girl here? Well, now... I let loose a few rounds earlier, as you saw. He reloads his gun every time he fires it. But even if I were to tell you how many there were at the time, you'd have no way of verifying that. Of course, in order to swap the guns, he'd have to maintain the right number of bullets per gun. He didn't have the chance to put on any gloves, though, which means... Alright, I think it's about time you've done the right thing and resigned, didn't you? Game's all but done, see?
Hold it!
Proofings. Something you clearly don't have. If you did, you'd have made your own move by now. We do so have proof, right, Mr. Edgeworth? We won't be given a chance to investigate any further. We have to work with what we've gathered. Think, Miles, think. Consider all the possibilities. Got the goods, it's now or never. How are we supposed to prove he switched the guns? Fortunately, we don't have any direct evidence of his wrongdoing. But that in itself is proof of a kind. Because otherwise the striations wouldn't line up like they do, right, sir? Right, we must carefully consider and infer what we can from the evidence he brings up in his testimony. The truth is in there somewhere. Gotta love this theme, though. This is like one of the best cross-examination themes. I wish I had the arranged soundtrack, but Capcom won't let you buy it. Like download it as DLC. It was only a pre-order exclusive, and Capcom hasn't made it available. Unless it's here already. And I just didn't realize it. No, we don't have it. It'd be playing if we had it. It's the same as the first game. The two of the three cross-examination themes, the corner theme, the variation of the corner theme, and the objection theme all have remixes in the in this one. But again, getting it required you to order it from a certain retailer that like sent you the code for it. And Best Buy did not send me a code. I think. I'll have to check again. I'm pretty sure they didn't. So proof that I switched out the original gun for mine, huh? None, that's what.
Objection!
I guessed there, and I got it right. I have your proof right here. That's your proof? Think you've been working too hard, Edgeworth? Not the gun itself, the evidence it carries. Evidence that will prove once and for all that it does in fact belong to you. Looking forward to this. Go ahead, make your move. What's about to come into play? The rook? The bishop? Not a pawn, surely. The evidence the gun will provide takes the form of... fingerprints. Namely your fingerprints, Mr. Knight.
Objection!
My prints? Ha! Of course my prints are on the gun. You handed it right to me when you gave me the evidence. How could they not be there?
Objection!
What if I told you that there are prints on a part of the gun that shouldn't have been touched at any point? What? Where? You can't prove that. Oh, but I can. There's a place where your fingerprints should have never been left if things had happened as you say. Now we present the final piece of evidence that will bring our game to its rightful conclusion. This part's called the grip. Held a few guns in my time. This one's no exception. This is a laser sight. We line up with a target to make aiming a bit easier. Yeah, yes, that's certainly true. It also increases your risk of the target realizing that they're in your sights. But I bet you wouldn't realize if it were you, Mr. Edgeworth. Why? Because I'm wearing red, you mean? Yeah, exactly. How did you guess? Anyway, if he didn't switch the things, then he wouldn't have touched this. not. Here, look close at the cylinder, Detective. 2 bullets fired, but where are the prints we're looking for, sir? You did indeed switch the guns when I handed you the evidence. But if that were all you had done, your deception would have been easily detected. Because the number of bullets fired by each gun was different. There were 2 spent bullets in the gun we found, sir. Yeah, but what about Mr. Knight's gun? We know that he fired 2 bullets from the stage into the balloon. He fired another bullet into Mr. Rook, ending his life. So 3 bullets in total, plus the few odd ones he let loose in shock during a little game. And after each shot, he reloaded his gun out of habit. With his bare hands, of course. Officer, where exactly were Mr. Knight's fingerprints found? The ones you mentioned in your report. Sir, they were found in the exterior of the weapon, but also on the bullets themselves. I'm not sure they could have gotten there just from handing you the evidence, Mr. Knight. That's... And there we have it, proof you did indeed switch the guns. This gun, the one which fired the bullet that killed Mr. Rook, is yours, and in taking his life, you are the true assassin! I didn't... Checkmate. No! Press his head down. That's gotta hurt with his neck injury. I was going to be the new chief of security. That blasted Rook. If it hadn't been for him, I would have been in charge by now. I would have been in control of the whole team. My plan was perfect. Fake assassination was supposed to be flawless. Detective Gumshoe. Right away, sir. Curse you, Edgeworth! Our game isn't over yet. I'm afraid this is as far as we go today. The next moves we play will be in the courtroom. But it's not fair! It's not fair! Go straight to jail. Do not pass district court. Do not collect 200 Swiss rolls. March 25th, 5:12 p.m. Gourd Lake, Lakeside Stage. Mr. Edgeworth, I owe you a debt of gratitude. You exposed a murderer within the ranks of my own personal guard. I will not soon forget that. He's suddenly very presidential again, and we're back outside the plane. I saw it, you know, when I first proposed the fake assassination to him. You want me to handle it, not Rook? Rook refused, but I can rely on you, can't I? Of course, sir. You can count on me. I'll put together a plan that can't possibly fail. And he'll play his part like the pawn he is. The hatred in his eyes was plain to see. He despised poor Rook. I was not entirely comfortable about moving forward with Knight in charge of our little deception. And looking back, I think he sensed my discomfort. Can't help thinking I played a part in his decision to end Rook's life. Mr. President, none of this would have happened if you hadn't plotted to fake an attempt on your own life. That was your crime, and it's a crime you'll have to live with. You are right. I can only apologize for the part I played. And I will no doubt be made to pay for my actions in one way or another. But I thank you nonetheless. You solved the riddle of Rook's demise, and for that, I shall be eternally grateful. I'll be here in your country for a little while longer yet, but when I return home, perhaps you will visit us in Zhangfa. You will always be welcome. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Y'all don't know how grateful I am. All's well that ends well. Miss Lloyd, the accusation of murder made against you was of course entirely groundless, but the fact remains you are a willing participant in the staged assassination attempt. The police will no doubt wish to speak to you about the matter. You should be aware that you may well be punished for your actions. I know, and I'm awfully sorry about everything, truly I am. I understand your desire for a scoop, but there are limits. Sure are. Got me some serious thinking to do. You did it, Mr. Edgeworth. That was something else. Local prosecutor solves assassination conundrum. Earns eternal gratitude of president. How's that for a headline? Hey, there's my department. Mr. Prosecutor, how does it feel to solve such an important case? You must be over the moon. Certainly doesn't stay down for long. No comment. Dang, you're one tight-lipped son of a gun. As I should be. This case is not over yet. It isn't? How come, sir? Because until we unravel the story behind this, the case will never be completely over.
Take that!
De Killer's calling card. Mr. De Killer has yet to complete his assignment. You mean he might still try to murder the president? I hope I'm wrong, but if I'm not, this could all blow up into something more sinister yet. As one would expect with the attempted assassination of a president, the case was all over the news, and my preparations for Mr. Knight's trial were constantly interrupted by requests from the press. There wasn't a person in the land who didn't know about the case. Everybody was talking about it. But in the midst of the frenzy that followed, nobody noticed that this was only the first move in a game far bigger than any of us could have imagined. The end. Turnabout trigger awarded. Hell yeah. One and done. Whew. Well, 350. I didn't really make it to as far as I wanted, but... Oh, cool. It actually does have the, images here. So next is the captive turnabout. There are 5 cases in this one. Next is where things start getting really good. And I'll just say that, we haven't seen the last of certain characters in this game. New items unlocked in the gallery. Accolades. So what do I get here? Successfully checkmating an opponent in mine chest without using story mode. Examining the signpost on the left-hand side of the spectator area in episode 1. Clearing episode 1 without story modes. This is episode 2, 3, 4, 5. Unlocking everything in the gallery. Awarded all other accolades. Right over there. I know what that is. Ladders and step ladders. So the next thing in that is episode 3. There's one thing to unlock in episode 2. So there's 2 things to unlock in episode 3. 1 and 2, and then 1 in every other case. Cool. Complete. Pixel? No pixel. Pixel? No pixel. Oh, I want to see what Rook's original thing looked like.
Objection!
Objection! Pixel Rook has teeth, really? Yeah, he's got like angry face. I mean, that's still pretty impressive, even the pixel art. Not Rook the guard. Oh. Want to see Aura return. I know this isn't this game, though. You can probably guess why. Yeah. Yeah, this dude. His teeth sticking out. Bodyguard Officer Forensics. Cool. Alright. And Ash has been playing a lot of Power Wash Simulator. I constantly see that coming up when I'm streaming. Alright, well, solid start of the second game. I will say that this game, the first game, the cases, like, it's kind of all, it's all connected, but at the same time, there's not really much, like, character connection between cases. Like, none of the people involved in the first 2 cases of the first game are, like, heavily involved in the later ones. This, you're going to be seeing characters kind of intermingle and intertwine with this narrative in, like, really amazing ways. Edgeworth is your hero. He's pretty great. But yeah, that's, we'll start Case 2 tomorrow, and hopefully my voice will recover by then, because my throat is sore. So, with that said, I'm going to say thank you to everyone who's here. Thank you everyone who came by, watched, chatted, followed, rated, all that fun stuff. I know that not every one of those is relevant to tonight, but thank you. I am going to head off. I will be here tomorrow with more investigations, and I'll be back probably this weekend with the end of Brothership. Like, we're finishing that. Really see the person in the red jacket in the scroll, yeah. That's the opening cutscene that we didn't get to see very much of because I messed up the load. Anyway, I'm going to raid. There's not a ton of people here. Brothership has an end. Yep, one more stream and it should finally be over. Not a ton of people here, but I'm going to go ahead and raid, You know what? Meme Overlord was nice enough to come by earlier and thank me for following him back after following me. So it's like, let's be nice. They're playing Rift of the Necrodancer too, which is really fun. Nice detail though. Thanks a lot for the stream. Of course. Anyway, stick around. Say hi to Meme Overlord. What a great name. And yeah, I'll be back tomorrow. Take care, everyone. And have a great second day of the year.